JanBask Training. Learn and grow.
In this session, we are going to talk about another famous chart in visualization, and that's called as line chart. We are going to talk about the details like what is line chart, when you can use it, how you will create it, and different features around it. And at last, we'll also implement filters on line chart, whatever we discussed in the last session. So let's start and see what is line chart. So line chart or line graph, whatever you say, basically connects several distinct data points and present them in the continuous evaluation. So you can use line chart to show certain trend or to compare certain values for a large number of categories. For example, let's say you have a requirement something like this, where you might need to find out the yearly sales trend. You might need to find out yearly sales trend. So if you will look at the yearly sales trend, it will be something like this, right? It will go something like this. So just consider that you have the data from 1990 to 2018. It consists of around 18 different years. Now you might be having the question like why we cannot create bar chart. The easiest thing is, first of all, like there will be 18 bars. So looking at each value, like if you are creating the bar chart also, it will be something like this. It will be going like this, right? So there will be different 18 bar charts will be there, which is not that convenient to read on. Another thing is, whenever you have data which is kind of a function of time, it's better to use line chart rather than bar chart. So bar chart is basically used to show certain trends out of it. Whenever your requirement contains something like which involves like date or period, bar chart can be used less compared to line chart. Means line chart is preferable over the bar chart. So when we use line chart, it is used to track changes over short and long period of time. When smaller changes exist, line charts are better than bar chart because it's directly the comparison, right? For example, let's say in September or in October, somewhere around your sales were something around 100, right? 100 USD. In November, it went around 102. If you will create the bar chart out of it, there will be a slight difference of the bar sizes, length of bar sizes. So whenever you have very small gap in the values, line charts are preferred compared to bar charts. Line chart can also be used to compare changes over the same period of time for more than one group. We will see this in practical later on in this session. Whenever number of items are large, for example, here I have shown you like we have 18 different years. So if you will create a bar chart, we will be having 18 different bars, right, which is not easy to read on. So in those cases also you can simply show a trend out of it, and it will help the business to see how their business is actually going on. So whenever we create certain trends, rather than looking at the value, the thing that makes more sense, or the thing that is being seen a lot, is something like what is the pattern, whether this kind of pattern is there, or we are seeing certain growth, constant growth, or we are seeing certain decrease in growth, or whether it is like growth in some period, then decrease in some period, again growth in some period, again decrease in some period. So basically we just want to look for the trend out of it rather than the actual values. Definitely values will be something that will be very helpful, and definitely it will help a lot, but trend or pattern is something that we measure most in terms of line chart. Now let's start and see how we can create line chart in Tableau. Just consider that our requirement is very simple, and it's something like we want to show yearly sales trend. Remember, in the last video we talked about, before creating any chart, what we should do is first identify the x and y axis dimension and measures. So if you will create yearly sales trend, it will be something like this, right? Here we will be having year, and here we will be having sales. So you will be basically creating certain values for different years, right? So this might be for 2010, this might be for 11, 12, and so on. So what we are doing here, on x-axis we are basically putting years, and on y-axis we are putting sales, which will be in the form of summation of sales. So on column cell we need to use years, and in row cells we need to use sales. Now let's start and see how we can do that in Tableau. I have opened the sample superstore dataset and used the ordered sheet across it. I'm just naming it line chart. This workbook will be again available to be downloaded, and you can use it for the reference purpose. As we have to show the yearly sales trend, but we don't have any specific column with the name year. But what we have is something called as order date. If you look into the data, this order date contains year. So we can use this order date column to find the years out of it. Let's drag this order date into the column cell. By default, you will find year being selected. Now, as we have to show yearly sales trend, so we need to drag the sales measure to row cell. Now, you will find the line chart already been created. If this couldn't have been, then you can simply go to marks and select line. Now, if you are good with this size, it's well and good. If not, then you can directly change the standard to the entire view, or manually you can increase the size also. As we already know that these are the years, so this order date doesn't make more sense over here, so we can right click on it and hide it. And we can change the title also so that it will be properly formatted. So it will be like yearly sales trend. So this is a very simple report which shows us yearly sales trend. You can enable the text to make it more easy to read. So it's showing in 2016 we had the sales of 484k. In 17 it was 470. In 18 it's 609, and in 2019 it's 733k. As we can see, the sales has decreased a bit from 2016 to 17, but since then it's showing a positive growth out of it. So this way you can easily create a line chart. Now let's start and see how we can format this line chart. Formatting can be done on multiple ways. It can be based upon the size, based upon the color, level, tooltip, and multiple other items. For example, if you want to change this axis name from sales to total sales, you can right click on it and select edit axis. You will get a pop-up option over here where you can make the title as total sales and simply close this. If you want, you can increase the width of these lines a bit as well. How? Go to size and simply increase it a bit, which makes more sense. If you want, you can change the color as well. Go to color and select the color which you want to have. This 484,000 doesn't look good, so we can convert this into some readable format. For that, we can right click on it and select format. This is exactly same what we did in the bar chart session. Now select over here some sales. Now as we want to make changes on pane, so I will select pane, numbers, currency, custom. I am removing the decimal places and making it automatic, and display unit will be 1000. And here I am putting $sign. If you want to change the alignment, you can do from here as well. So let's say I want to make it middle alignment, right, and at the top. So I have done it. If you want to change the font, you can directly do it from here. Now it's more visible and making more clean in terms of user experience. So this way you can work around it. Now let's start and see some further features of line chart, and those can be a scattered line chart. So I'm just creating another worksheet with the name scattered line chart. For that, I'm going to use the same sheet or similar sheet that we have. So I'm dragging this order date here and sales over here, removing this one, making this entire width, enabling text, right? And just I'm formatting it. Means directly I am doing all the things that we have already done in the last unit. or last work set. Okay. Now, just think of like we want to make this scattered. So let's say we want some lighter color to be used when the sales is less and some darker color to be used when the sales is more. Before that, let's increase the size of it. For that, what we can do, whenever we need to scatter it, we need to use some measures in the color self when we have to scatter this on the basis of color gradient. So what I will do, I will drag the sales and put it in the color. Now, can you see this? Whenever we had less sales, the color is lighter. As soon as the sales increases, the color becomes darker. And the year when the color is maximum, the sales has or the color has become completely dark. This way, you can create a scattered chart as well. Now, as you can see on the tooltip, it's showing like year of order date. If you want to change this title, you can go to tooltip. And instead of year of order date, you can simply make it year. And click OK. Now, it's showing correctly. Year 2017, sales 471K. Now, there may be multiple requirements around these line chart. There can be some requirement like yearly sales trend per category. For example, currently what we have done, we have simply created certain sales trend like this. So here we had year, here we had sales, and we have created certain sales trend like this. But just consider that we have four category or three category over here: technology, office supplies, and furniture. What we want is we want to split this entire sales into three categories. So it will be something like this, right? Now we have year, now we have sales, and this will be for technology. This will be for, let's say, furniture, and this will be for, let's say, office supplies. So instead of just having a single sales, we want the trend to be shown for all categories as well. Let's see how we can do it. So for that, I'm creating another worksheet with the name line chart with multiple measures. First of all, we'll be using the same order date over here, and then sales in the row self, making it entire view and hiding it. I'm just making a little quick because we have done it for two worksheet already. Now enable the title to make it better. Now what we have to do, we have to differentiate or split this entire sales. For example, in 2016 we have 484K sales. We want to split it into three categories, right? Like how much out of this 484K sales, how much each categories are contributing. To do that, what we can do, we can simply drag the category field to color self. Now, can you see this? Depending upon the three categories, now we are having the trend for all these three categories. To make it more readable, what we can do, we can format this the same way we have done it earlier. So currency custom, removing decimal places, making it automatic, and K, and here we have dollar. That's all. Now it clearly shows that blue is the furniture. So we can see that the furniture sales have increased irrespective of the year. Remember, our total sales was decreased in 2017, but furniture sales was 157K in 2016, 171K, then 199K, and then 215K. Means furniture sales have increased irrespective of the year. If we talk about the technology which is showing with red color, earlier it was 175, then 171, then it has increased. Means it follows the total sales trend. If you talk about the office supplies also, it follows the total sales trend. So this way, you can split your total sales into multiple subcategories. This is the easiest way whenever we have to show the total trend and then the multiple measures based on it as well. But one thing that we have missed it over here is the total sales. Now, in 2016, it's showing me like we have the sales from office supplies as 152K, 157K from the furniture, and 175K from technology. But where is total sales? To do that, we can create a reference line the same way we have done in bar chart. I'm just duplicating this worksheet, so right click on it and select duplicate. I will rename it with a reference line. Now, as we have to add the reference line, we'll follow the same approach. Right click on the axis, select add reference line, select per pane, sales, and in place of average, we need to use sum. Then in place of computation, we need to use value. Remove this line, or if you want, you can keep it also, and select OK. Now, we have the data. If you look at earlier graph, for 2016, we had 484K sales, and now we have 484K sales. Means it's showing the correct data. Right? Now, you can also make this little more formatted. How? Just right click on it and select edit. We have the reference line here, right? So now it's showing me line. If you want, you can make this something like this. You can increase the width. You can also make this with some other color. Let's say we want to make this with this color. Now it's showing me fill above and fill below. Let's make something. Fill above, something like this, right? And now let's make this darker. Click OK. Now can you see this? Right? Now we have a lot better graph compared to what we had earlier. So this way we can add reference line with the line chart. So far we have talked about what is line chart, why we are using it, and then we talked about how to create line chart. We also talked about the scattered line chart, then scattering on the basis of multiple measures, and then the reference line as well. Now let's talk about how you can filter the line chart. So let's say we may want to filter the yearly sales trend and allow the user to provide a control to select some specific state in such cases. Means what? We want the user to filter this report on the basis of state. Let's see how we can do that. To filter any chart, we can follow the same approach what we have done earlier. To do that, we can drag a state column to filter cell. It will ask me with the similar kind of options what we had earlier. To do that, I'm using use all to allow the user to have all the states as an option. Select OK, and again click it over here and select show filter. Now all the states are showing in the filter. As we have a lot of options, so it's better to use multi-value drop down. Now you can also enable apply option to make it more user friendly and make it little faster. To do that, click it over here and go to customize and select show apply button. Now user can make the changes. Whatever they want to select, they can select it. Whatever they want to remove, they can remove it, and simply click on apply. And the data will be changed accordingly. Thank you.
JanBask Training. Learn and grow.